Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Harrison. I will admit, today's video is a little bit belated. I'd hoped to get this up much sooner, but you guys know, this time of year, it's insane. But the good news is all the recipes have already been published, so you can go and find anything if you want to make them for your Christmas baking needs. In today's video, I'm going to walk y'all through 4 incredible Christmas cookie recipes, and 2 of them were actually submitted by you guys. So I've been doing a little series over on TikTok and Instagram where I'm making your holiday recipes. I kind of opened up my email inbox. I've had so many people send in their family recipes, picked out a few that sounded really good to me, and 2 of those recipes are in this video. So thank you to Michael and to Carly for submitting their cookie recipes to be featured today. I actually got this idea from my friend Jessica. I'll tag her channel down below. She did this for Thanksgiving a few years back and actually made my cream cheese log recipe. And it was really cool to like see it in someone else's hands and see someone get to do it. So I wanted to do the same thing this year. The response has been so overwhelming. I've gotten so many fabulous recipes that have come through my inbox. So we are definitely gonna have to revisit this one next year also, because I think it's just a really fun way to like connect with you and get to know you better and get to see like your different traditions and different dishes. So I've had so much fun with this whole thing. So you'll get a little taste of it today with 2 of these cookie recipes. It caught me at an interesting time because I'm actually hosting a big Christmas party tomorrow. That'll be in the next video. Hoping to have that out for you guys on Christmas Eve. That's a nice little Christmas Eve treat. But here's my list. We're making some progress. It looks a lot more daunting than it is. We're doing like a Christmas cocktail party and I'm really excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we have like 35 people coming, which for me, that's a big party. I'm just kind of running around 25 different directions. I'm gonna wrap up this, then we gotta prep some more stuff for tomorrow, and I got a couple other things I wanna get done too. I got tons of presents to wrap, so let me know how it's going for y'all. I feel like this holiday season has flown by. I think today when I'm filming this, it is December 19th. 19th! That's insane that it's already December 19th. So I'm just trying to kind of soak it up while I can, not let it stress me out too bad, and hopefully you're able to do the same. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into these cookie recipes. They are so delicious. I actually need to make another batch of the vat cookies here in a second. You'll see what I mean by vat cookie when we get there. Hope you guys enjoy. Maybe put this on in the background while you're wrapping presents, doing something festive, and I'll see you soon. Hi everybody, happy holidays. So today, I'm doing like a little impromptu Christmas cookie baking day. So I'm gonna walk y'all through 4 fabulous Christmas cookie recipes, and 2 of them are actually submitted by you guys. So I put out a call for people to submit their family holiday recipes to me, and the response has been really, really great. So I went through, found 2 cookie recipes that I think are gonna be really, really nice. And the other 2 recipes are my family Christmas cookies. So earlier I went ahead and like meased out all the ingredients for each recipe. If you're doing like a big cookie day this season, or even just any kind of big, you know, cooking day where you're making multiple recipes, I think going ahead and measuring all of your ingredients out prior to starting is really, really gonna help you out. And I don't know if y'all have seen it yet, but this is my little kitchen Christmas tree. I put this up a few days ago. I decorate the whole thing with food-themed ornaments and like little caviar tins, and some of these ones I made at a ceramic class in Italy this summer. We have like a little whisk, can of tomatoes, martini, cheeses, an oyster platter, just a ton of really fun stuff. And I love putting this out every year. It's like my favorite piece of Christmas decor. Setting the mood. All right, first up, we are making ginger molasses cookies. This recipe was submitted by Carly. She says, "Dear Harry, every year my family gets together and bakes over 1,000 cookies. That's crazy. This family tradition has been going on so long, there are no longer people around to find out quite how long. My grandmother and her siblings used to help their mother and her friends do this. She says the cookie baking process takes 3 to 4 days, and they split the cookies to make trays for friends, family, whoever else. These spiced ginger molasses cookies are apparently a crowd fave, and they triple the recipe for Christmas time." She says, "I hope you enjoy these as much as we do." Honestly, Carly, when I saw this, I was a little bit stopped in my tracks because I feel like we have the exact same handwriting. We write our S's the exact same way. I was like, did I write this? It looks just like my handwriting. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into these. So I have gone ahead and meased out all my ingredients, So to start, we're gonna sift things together. And if you've been around here a minute, you know that I never sift anything. So Carly, I'm doing it for you. First is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Then in this little bowl, I've got 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1.5 teaspoons of ground ginger, and 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, plus a teaspoon of salt. So all of those in, nice warm winter spices. And then these just get sifted together. See, I'm doing it. It smells great already. All right, fabulous. And she says in a separate bowl, we're gonna beat the shortening, butter, and the brown sugar until it's nice and fluffy. So let's get this going in my mixer. So this recipe uses 1/2 cup of shortening. And I love like old school holiday recipes like this because they have us reaching for ingredients you might not like normally get out. Shortening or like Cool Whip or pudding mixes, like these kind of old school retro things that, you know, most young people probably don't really cook with anymore. There we go. 1/2 cup of our shortening right in the bowl. This is so nice. I haven't baked in a hot minute, it feels like. There's that. Butter, this is 1/2 stick of softened, unsalted butter. In she goes. And the brown sugar. 1 cup of, she says, firmly packed brown sugar. All right. On this goes. She says to beat this until it's fluffy. Okay. She's looking fluffy. Next up, we're adding 1 egg and a 1/4 cup of molasses. Like my little scraper thing, get all this out. Okay. Add egg and molasses to butter mixture and mix well. Alrighty. Then we just mix in our dry ingredients. I'm gonna do this in 2 additions, I think. Fabulous. These smell really good, nice and spicy. Bring y'all in and show you how we're looking. All right, that's about how we're looking. She says to chill the dough for an hour. I have to try a little bit. Oh yeah, that's really nice. So I'm just gonna press this into a disc and pop this in the fridge, and we'll see this back here in an hour. Okay, now I only have 1 mixer bowl. This is where this day gets a little tricky. So I'm gonna wash this out and then set up for the next recipe. And we'll work on those cookies while these ones are chilling. Okay, our cookie day continues. Next up, I'm going to assemble the dough for my Nanny's sugar cookies. Let me grab all the ingredients. Okay. All right, so these are my Nanny Yeehaw sugar cookies. We call her Nanny Yeehaw because she has a ranch. And when we were growing up, she had like a bunch of cows and horses and goats and like all kinds of things. Anyway, that's where the name comes from. But these are her sugar cookies. She makes piles and piles of these every year, gives them away. They're really thin. They crumble as soon as you bite into them. They're very buttery and just really, really delicious. They get nice and toasty on the bottom. They're my brother's favorite, definitely one of my favorites. And hopefully they'll be one of your favorites too. So, however, this is a 2-day process. The dough chills overnight. So we're gonna assemble the dough, throw it in the fridge, continue on about our day, and then we'll finish these tomorrow. So I got all my ingredients here. We're gonna start with 2 sticks of softened, unsalted butter. My butter is not quite as soft as maybe it should be, so I'm gonna give this a head start and just kind of beat it together for a little bit. Perfect. Next, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of powdered sugar, 2 eggs, 1 cup of vegetable oil, and vanilla. About a teaspoon, but eye of the beholder. And we're going to cream this mixture together. Stop it and scrape down the sides if you need to. Looks good. I just mix these until they're light and creamy. Takes about a minute or so. Okay. Then for our dry ingredients, this is 4 cups of all-purpose flour, teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Now my 1 teaspoon measure is dirty and so is my 1/2 teaspoon, so I have to use my 1/4 teaspoon. So there you go, there's our teaspoon. I bring out the cream of tartar once a year for this recipe. There you go, see you next year. And I just whisk these together. Then in goes the dry ingredients. I add them all at once. Paddle back on, and just kind of mix all that together until it's combined. Perfect. All right. This is why I put plastic sleeves on my recipes. Just give the dough a good mix. Make sure it's all incorporated, more or less. And I transfer this back into the bowl where I mix the dry ingredients. This dough is so good. All right. Little plastic on this, and I use the plastic to kind of smash it into an even layer. In the fridge to chill overnight, and then we will see these tomorrow. And with that, I'm going to reset one more time for our last recipe that uses the mixer, and then we will go on from there. These mixers get so disgusting. Okay, did a little quick reset. So now we're gonna move on to our third cookie recipe. This is another one of y'all's recipes that you submitted. Let me get my laptop and we can talk all about it. Today's cookie recipe comes from Michael, and these are his family's ricotta cookies. He says, I know there are a lot of recipes like this out there, but I promise you've never had them quite like this. They come out like little sweet cakes and they're just incredible. They've been a staple of my Christmases for as long as I can remember, and they're always the cookies that we left out for Santa. That's very sweet. And he says, I should know, we like to press ours once frosted into untoasted but sweetened coconut. As a kid, we'd also separate the frosting into several bowls and add food coloring to make the prettiest winter pastels. Wishing you lots of joy this holiday season and thanking you for that of which you bring to us. Thank you, Michael. So, got the recipe printed out right here. The Christmas groaning board. These like old school recipe books just had the funniest names. So let's get into these. I've never made ricotta cookies before, but when he said they tasted like sweet little cakes and you dip them in coconut, that sounds really fab. So he wants us to start by creaming together the sugar and the butter. So this is 2 cups of sugar and 2 sticks of softened unsalted butter. We've used a lot of butter and a lot of sugar today. Okay, I'm gonna get these going. Preheat my oven in the meantime. All right, that looks light and fluffy and really combined. Okay, then we're adding 3 eggs. All the eggs are at room temp, by the way. 1 pound of ricotta cheese. A little knife to open this. I got this little rubber spatula in a Williams-Sonoma holiday baking advent calendar that I opened in 2022. If you remember those videos, let me know. All right, 1 pound of ricotta, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's just kill the bottle. Let's get a bottle. Okay, back on she goes. Yeah. All right, for the dry ingredients, 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna be a good egg and sift these together. Then teaspoon each of salt and baking soda. There we go. I guess sifting isn't all that hard after all, as much as I complain about it. Then, dry ingredients in, mix this up. That's the dough. I need a little tester. Oh, I love those. Now it does say this recipe makes 10 dozen, which is wild. Okay, we're gonna get the mixer back out for the frosting in a second. Let's see. I'm gonna transfer the dough here so I can clean this bowl out one more time to make the frosting for these. All right, this says drop by teaspoon onto a greased cookie sheet. I can do that. My friend Eric, Easy Gay Oven, hates baking sprays. So that was for him. It says to drop these by the teaspoon. This is the smallest cookie scoop that I have, but that seems like about right. Like if I were to just take like a spoon and like make little drops, that's probably about what I would get. I don't quite know how far apart to separate these. We're gonna go 3 across to be safe. Hey, you know what? Honestly, a teaspoon might be easier than dealing with that thing. So like that is, I'm guessing, about what we're going for. Michael's grandma's probably yelling at the screen right now. It's a very fluffy dough. I'm gonna do these first 2 trays and then we'll see like how they behave, how much they spread and whatnot. But this is much quicker than dealing with that little scoop. And then once these go in the oven, we'll clean the mixer bowl again. Squeeze in 2 more down here. And you definitely get quite a few cookies out of this. These bake at 350 degrees. So you can see where someone crossed out 375 and wrote 350 for 10 minutes. I've got them on 2 racks, so I'm gonna swap them after 5 minutes. This dough is so good. All right. Get this mixer back out. Mixer bowl is clean for the 4th time. All right, so while those are working, let's go ahead and mix up the frosting that goes on top. Back to my recipe here. Starting with 1 stick of margarine. Hell yeah, baby. Also 2 teaspoons of vegetable shortening. I'm gonna use the whisk attachment for this. Okay, I just sliced my finger pretty bad. Give me 1 second. Let's switch these cookies around. BRB. All right, here's how our first batch is looking. They smell crazy. I'm tempted to just like take one fresh off the line here. Let's do it. They really are like little cakes. Okay. Let me just do this. I think I got the spacing pretty good. That one has an issue. Okay, forgive the brief interlude while I cared for my sports injury here, but we're gonna go ahead and get this icing done. So in this bowl, I have 1 stick of margarine and 2 teaspoons of vegetable shortening. I love these old school frosting recipes that have like the shortening or the margarine. Like, I just think they taste really good. All right, so we're going to get these going. Next, this is 1 pound of powdered sugar. I've been looking high and low for the 1 pound boxes of powdered sugar and can't really seem to find them anymore. I don't know what the deal is. Then this calls for half a teaspoon of vanilla. I used the last of my vanilla extract in the cookies, so we're gonna do a vanilla paste. Yeah, all right. Get this going. Then I got a splash of milk on standby. Let me scrape these sides down. See if that might help things along. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Splash of milk. I'm gonna let this go and kind of get some air incorporated. Alrighty. That is a dream. I hope this is enough. This does not look like a whole ton of icing. All right, that is a wrap on the mixer. Let's bring these over here and start icing. Got our coconut. I think I'm gonna dip cookie into icing, into coconut. Those look really, really yummy. I think some we're just gonna do just some icing on top. Like little snowballs. So fun. Toasted coconut too would be really good on these, I think. Next batch is done. Let me grab those out of the oven. All right, I'm gonna finish up the rest of these. I will bring you back. I'm just gonna put our finished ones on some parchment paper, just so they have a landing spot. I did sneak one and they are very, very tasty. I wanna see if that frosting might set up just a little bit. I don't know. All right, next batch. Thankfully, these bake really quick, so you could reasonably do all of it at one time. Curious how close we'll get to the actual, like, 10 dozen that the recipe says. This is kind of where it gets fun for me, honestly. Keeping the whole operation going. Some in the oven, some cooling, some being frosted, and you just kind of go back and forth. Yeah, now I'm really worried I made these too big. I'm also worried this is like nowhere near enough frosting. Maybe I'm running out of frosting because I made them entirely too big, which is possible. Yeah, I don't know what I did wrong, but I should have like doubled that frosting recipe. All right, this is what I was able to accomplish with all the frosting that I had. I am gonna make a second batch and finish frosting the rest. Got one more batch in the oven right now, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to baking the gingerbread cookies because I really wanna try those. Okay, got them on a pretty little Santa plate for Santa Claus. These really are exactly like he described. Little tiny cakes. I love the old school frosting on top, and I love the coconut too. Like a little mini coconut cake. All right, gingerbread molasses cookies continued. These have been chilling in the fridge for an hour. Then we grab the recipe. It says to roll the dough into balls and then quickly dip it into ice water, then roll it in sugar to coat. Dipping sugar must be changed several times because the sugar gets too wet and it runs when baked. Bake for 10 minutes, 2 inches apart. Technical challenge. All right, there's our sugar. There's our ice water. Looks very refreshing. Stir with a little sugar at a time. I'm gonna take off a scoop like that big or so. What do you think? Is that too big? Quickly in ice water and then sugar. Ooh. And onto the baking sheet. Okay, the ice water thing is interesting. These are pretty big. I'm gonna do these kind of far apart. See if we can do like 7 or 8. Fresh sugar. Let's start with 6 per tray, just to see how much these will spread in the oven, you know? These might also be really good dipped in like turbinado sugar. I might try that for the next batch. Last one for this batch. Scoopy, rolly, dippy, coaty. All right. I'm gonna throw these in the oven at 350 for 10 minutes and we'll be back. We're gonna start at 10 minutes and see how long these actually take because I might have made these like entirely too big. So, going to throw this back in the refrigerator. All right, first batch of our gingerbread molasses are all done. These look really good with a little crystallized sugar on top. Very festive. So we're gonna let these cool and then start the next batch. All right, let's get these last gingerbreads done. I think my little strategy of 6 to a sheet tray worked well. There we go, there's our last 3. Last batch in the oven. All right, so I'm on cookie number 2, but I gotta say, Carly, these are really, really fantastic. That like lacy edge that you get by rolling them in the sugar is really delicious. They have a very nice texture on the inside. I am a fan. They're warm, spicy, really delicious. Would be great with a cup of coffee for breakfast. So thank you very much for sharing and hope your family Christmas cookie baking day goes off without a hitch. Okay, our second batch of ginger molasses cookies is almost done, but I wanna get started on our last cookie. This is another tried and true family recipe. You can't even call it a recipe because it literally is 2 ingredients, but there's a couple things you gotta do that make these really special. So we are making what my family calls that cookies. Really, they're mini Reese's Peanut Butter Cup cookies in, you know, peanut butter dough. But when my older brother Jackson was a toddler, he would point at these little Reese's miniatures and say, "Mom, I want that, I want that." And so we grew up calling these That's, hence the name That Cookies. And it's not Christmas in this house without them. We'll make up like big bags of them. I like to store them in the freezer. That is the best. Get like a cold crunchy one right out of the freezer. Oof. If you watched my Christmas in July video, we made these then also. So some of y'all have probably seen this before. I'm gonna do just a batch of 24 for this evening. So we're gonna start by unwrapping 24 of the mini Reese's miniatures. Stacking mini Reese's cups on a paper plate. That is a Wallace family experience right there. And this is kind of the most tedious part of the recipe. Last batch is done, I'm gonna fish these out. Yes, yes, yes. I found that with the ginger molasses cookies, because that sugar can harden to the cookie sheet, it's best to just get them off as soon as they come out of the oven. That way we, you know, prevent any stickage. Last one. Oh my God, these smell so, so good. All right, back to business over here. That oven beeps me one more time. I'm done. I'm done with the oven beeping today. No more. That's our lucky day. That one was double wrapped. All right, let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay, great, we did it. You can throw all these foils away. Then, get your mini muffin tin, give it a good spray down. Pre-made, store-bought peanut butter cookie dough. It's the best way to go. I've done this before with like the cookie dough mixes that come in the little bags. And that's fine too, but if you get the tray with like the little bricks, here's what I do. So I take a brick, and I break off like a third of it. That much. Basically 2/3 of one of these bricks is about enough for a cookie. So then I get another brick, break off another third, that one's good, and then these 2/3 make the third cookie. So you get 3 cookies out of 2 bricks. Does that make sense? I hope so. The point being, you want a piece of dough about that big per cookie. These go into the oven at 350 degrees for like 8 to 9, maybe 10 minutes or so. We're not going for like crunchy hard all the way cooked through cookie. You just want them like starting to brown, starting to cook, and like softened. If that makes any sense at all. You'll see what I mean. Then, during that 8-9 minutes, you're gonna go into your freezer and make sure you have a spot where you can fit that entire tray right in your freezer, okay? So I'm gonna go do that. All right, that is done. Gonna stash away this leftover dough for the next batch. All right, I'm gonna see if I can pack all these up while those are in the oven. The icing is kind of set down now, so I think if I, put like a layer of parchment in there, it shouldn't get too disturbed. Of course, I cannot find the lid for this Tupperware, so aluminum foil it is. Let's get these beautiful gingerbreads packed up as well. These are pretty much totally cooled. Perfect. Okay. These are all out of the oven. Then, working quickly, you're gonna take your peanut butter cups and pop them in. I'm gonna try and do this as quickly as possible. And then, that space we carved out in the freezer, you're gonna plop these immediately into the freezer. And the key is so that the chocolate doesn't start melting too much. There we go. All right, straight to the freezer for these. And look at that. We had 2 extras. Damn, those are good. Someone's mad that I've been working all day. All right, well, I'm gonna stop here for this evening. I actually have a Christmas party to attend tonight, so I'm gonna go get myself gussied up for that. And I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning to finish the sugar cookies and take a bite of our that cookies. We'll make us a little cookie plate for breakfast. It'll be perfect. And I'll see you then. Can you say bye-bye? My little fat baby. Yes. All right, we are back. It is the next day, so we're gonna finish up my Nanny sugar cookies. I hung a new garland swag on the Venna hood. I think it ties it all together nicely. So that's fun. But our dough has been chilling in the refrigerator overnight. So we're gonna start scooping these out. Let me show you what's what here. So, oven is preheated at 350 degrees. I have an ungreased cookie sheet here. These cookies really don't stick because of all of like the butter and the oil, so it really has never been an issue. I'm gonna take a scoop. Now she got onto me one year for scooping these because she said you have to like roll them with your hands because I guess the heat of the hands makes them more malleable. So I really just use a scoop to portion them evenly. But I'm just gonna take a scoop into my hands, roll it. This scoop might be a little big. I want them about 1 inch in diameter. That's maybe like more 1.5 inches. So we'll use this guy instead. But scoop it right into your hands, roll into a ball, onto the cookie sheet. Then I'm gonna take a little drinking glass. Anything with a flat bottom will work just fine, including me. I have a very flat bottom. Dip your glass in sugar and press, just like that. And you wanna leave these enough room to spread because they definitely do spread out when cooking. So, roll, place, dip, press, just like that. And on we go. Probably didn't space that one out appropriately, but whatever. And my nanny will use like colored sugars at Christmas time, like red and green, to make them a little more festive. I don't think I have any. All right, I'm gonna stop there for this tray, and we'll get our next one going. There we go, tray number 2. These bake for about 12 to 15 minutes until they are kind of slightly browned on the edges and a little crispy. So in these go. I will just keep my dough back in the refrigerator between batches. Alrighty, first batch is all done. Let me show you. This is kind of what we're looking for. See that really beautiful golden ring around the edge? They smell really toasty, really buttery.
Did you see?
See what?
Alex Rowan Braxton broke up?
Yeah, you sent me that. Batch 2 happening now. First batch is done. We can put some cute Christmas music on this.
It's cold outside.
Literally that one. Wait, y'all. We cleaned the garage and we found more food ornaments for my tree. So we're gonna go put these on. All right, sending my brother home with a little cookie box. So I got our that cookies out of the freezer. Give those a good whack. Why are y'all all laughing at me? They're all standing around laughing. Sorry guys. I'm gonna have to make a second batch of these.
I was gonna say, don't give them all away.
I feel like Augie would like these too. So really I'm packing them for Augie. And some of our ricotta cookies with the coconut. A few of these ginger molasses. Some chocolate salami that I made. Just gonna give y'all the rest of this one harder. How cute. Then, his fave, whole bunch of sugar cookies. How nice. Well, there you go. 4 really fabulous cookie recipes that are gonna be perfect for your holiday season. Thank you so much to Michael and to Carly for sending in those recipes. They were really, really fun to do. All these recipes are gonna be out in my newsletter, if not already, so that's all gonna be linked down below. And if you're ever looking for one of my recipes, you can always find it at harrisonwallace.substack.com. You can browse my Substack and search for the recipe you're looking for. But I'll be back soon. We're gonna be hosting a Christmas party here later this month, so I'm gonna take y'all through the entire process, start to finish, kind of like we did for Thanksgiving. It's gonna be a really good time. But until then, have a lovely holiday season and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.